Hello and welcome to the channel. How, when, and where? History is the study of past events, but it is not just about memorizing dates. People used to believe history was mainly about kings, battles, and events. Modern history writing focuses on changes in society, economy, and governance. The way history is recorded and interpreted depends on who is writing it. Number 2. How important are dates? Earlier, historians focused on dates related to rulers and battles. However, history also studies changes in people's lives, economy, culture, and administration. Some historical changes, like shifts in tradition or economic systems, occur gradually and can't be assigned a single date. For example, the British introduced railways in India, but the process of expansion took years. Hence, history is about understanding trends and transitions over time, not just exact dates. Number 3. Which dates are important? The importance of date depends on what aspect of history is being studied. British historians focused on events like the arrival of British officials, the expansion of British rule, the policies introduced by different governor generals. Earlier, history books were written from the British perspective, ignoring local events and people. Modern historians focus on broader aspects such as social and economic changes, the role of common people in history, the impact of British policies on India. Number 4. How do we periodize? James Mill's periodization of Indian history. James Mill, a British historian, divided Indian history into Hindu period, that is ancient India, Muslim period, medieval India, British period, modern India. This classification was problematic because it suggested that Indians were uncivilized before British rule. It divided history based on religion, ignoring cultural and political diversity. Modern classification of Indian history. Historians today prefer ancient period, early civilizations, kingdoms and empires, medieval period, regional kingdoms, Mughal Empire, Sultanate rule, modern period, British rule, British colonial rule, freedom struggle and post-independence. However, the term modern period is debated because British rule did not bring modern benefits like democracy and equality. Instead, colonial period is used to describe British rule in India, emphasizing exploitation and control. What is colonialism? Colonialism occurs when one country takes control over another, influencing its politics. The British made laws and ruled India and its economy. British controlled Indian trade and industries, and culture and society, Western education and new social policies. The British changed land revenue systems, the permanent settlement, Rayatwari system, trade and industry, discouraged Indian industries, promoted British goods, laws and administration like British style governance. Indians were forced to adapt to British rule, but they also resisted through protests and movements. Number 6. How do we know about this period? Official records of the British administration. British kept detailed records of policies, laws, and events. Reports were written and stored in archives. Government orders, letters, and surveys were maintained systematically. However, these records reflected only the British perspective, often ignoring Indian viewpoints. Surveys conducted by the British conducted extensive surveys to control and govern Indian effectively. Types of surveys: revenue surveys about land ownership and taxation, forest surveys to exploit timber and resources, census 1871 onwards for counting population, caste, jobs, religion, archaeological surveys to study monuments and historical sites. These surveys helped the British but also provided valuable historical data. Personal diaries, newspapers, and other accounts. Diaries and personal writings written by officials, Indian leaders, and common people. Newspapers and magazines covered social issues, freedom struggles, policies. Books and memoirs written by both British and Indian scholars. Oral traditions, folk tales, songs, and personal stories from Indian people. These sources give a broader view of history beyond British records. In conclusion, history is not just about memorizing dates, it is about understanding changes over time. The British introduced new ways of administration, but they also exploited India. The term colonial period is more accurate than modern period to describe British rule. Different sources, official records, surveys, and personal writings help us understand the past from multiple perspectives. Studying history critically allows us to question biased narratives and learn about real historical developments.